only other question I have, and it relates to that rear entrance, that rear secure entrance off of the street that's very narrow now. Vanderbilt. That's not going to be a sally port, that's just going to be a space for them to pull up and let people out, which basically blocks the access to that street during that use.
No, I guess we'd have to measure, but there are parking spaces on that side of the street, existing parking spaces. It's a one-way street with one row of existing parking spaces.
Okay.
So typically, 2 of those spaces would be reserved, would be marked off as police only, allowing for the transport van to pull up without backing up and forth. They would pull up directly adjacent to that door. One of the transport officers would get out, make sure the area was secure. They'd buzz inside, the door would be electronically opened, out of the van and the door. Once the door is closed, it's back to the normal operation. So.
And I only have one other question about for Amy. It's Amy, correct?
Yes.
The electronic and computer structure on the inside of this, I suppose, it's an open building, so I suppose you have wide open accessibility to be able to put all that in without actually doing any structural changes to the building. Have you looked at that as far as a separate cost on just the infrastructure for putting in what the police department's going to need and what the court system's going to need as far as IT?
From the court side, absolutely. We've got typical templates for wiring each of the offices. We have standards for making the office computer compatible. Those would be built into the partitions and the walls as part of the electrical bid.
And we have contacted the chief and asked for their side and for their use what, their requirements would be. So yes, we have already taken that into consideration.
Because that's going to be something added, not necessarily the construction of the building, but just new equipment that we're going to have to put in to be able to accommodate that, correct?
Correct, yes.
And that's not part of your 1.5 million, or is that
Yes.
part?
Yes.
That is part of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
inclusive.
1.5 is the number for the police station. This is 1.5 for the whole shooting match. Your deal as far as the unified court as well as yours.
At this time, that was a preliminary estimate.
All right,
between
I have
those.
another question. The police station where it sits now, where it is underneath us in this building, taking a look to see what is going to happen to that space. Have you been consulting with anyone?
I have not been asked.
You have not been asked to.
Do you mean what would move in there?
Yeah, when all the hooks are left on the wall and the desks are gone, what's going to go into that spot?
Into the project. Yeah.
Maybe someone on the council might know that. Maybe I can.
No definite plans have been made for that.
Okay.
What will happen is, assuming that this actually goes forward, and the police department vacates that space, the first thing that will happen with that space is the roof will be reconstructed, and because of what's involved in reconstructing the roof, you actually have to get down on the first floor and do work. It would be very disruptive to try to do it in occupied space.
Right.
So the police department space roof would be renovated. The second story roof would be renovated because the court will have moved, and the only other office that is occupied is the mayor's office. So the mayor would go someplace. They would get this part of these 2 parts of the roof done.
Before anything goes into that empty space, if this does go through.
Right, and then temporarily, chances are the office and functions that are currently in, call it the administrative wing, would move temporarily to the former police wing while that part of the roof was fixed. Now, the original specs for the roof called for the work to be done at night, so it wouldn't interrupt the functions of the existing offices.
Sure.
And that came in more than we had budgeted, the city had budgeted for. So the hope is that if we bid that work out to be done during normal work hours, that it will be less expensive.
And what was, like, you recall what the bid was on that, to redo both roofs by any chance?
I think it was,
600?
630, something like that.
But it was to be done at night, as to not, you know, create a big problem, so that city would still function.
The whole key was that offices were open as usual, so that was the least amount of disruption, preferably no disruption, so that,
So there will be some savings, hopefully.
well, everything, right, I mean, it's all overtime after,
Right.
you know, after regular hours. I
When was that bid, that last bid presented?
think it was early summer.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Now, once the roof is finished, you know, exactly how the space on the first floor will be apportioned down among the various departments has not been determined yet.
Okay. So you don't have a budget amount for what would actually happen inside this building in a ballpark figure?
Correct.
$500,000, $100 million?
Well, my approach would be, there's existing space, use it. So I don't, right this minute, I don't see the need to spend significant sums of money adapting that space right this minute. Now what, you know,
So
what
essentially be repairing the roof, but not doing any interior work to accommodate any other.
I think it's premature to say what would be done with respect to renovations. Might there be renovations? Might there not be renovations? There might not be. A lot will depend on variables that we don't know what are going to be in a year or two.